Good morning. So today I want to talk a little bit more about narcissism again. A lot of you would define the narcissist as a psychopath, and that is an understatement. That is completely wrong, because a psychopath is a psychopath, a narcissist is a narcissist, and a sociopath is a sociopath. So a narcissist and a psychopath are very, very similar, and when diagnosing is quite hard to distinguish between the two, because they both have very similar traits. The difference, the big difference, is that a psychopath is dead on the inside. They do not have any feelings. They cannot feel remorse, empathy or guilt. Whereas a narcissist does have feelings. They can feel remorse, empathy and guilt. It's just that they suppress them feelings. So I just want to quickly go into how narcissist personalities form. Now, this is not about, narcissism personality disorder is actually quite rare. So we're on a spectrum here. So whether it's full-blown narcissist personality disorder or someone who has learned or developed traits of narcissist. So narcissist is generally formed from narcissist parents. It's like a vicious circle. So the child has had narcissistic parents, or one narcissistic parent, or the child has one parent who is overly spoiled, loved and admired and put that child on a pedestal, and the other parent who was absent or did not give that child love, affection, etc., etc. There becomes a split in the personality as the child develops. This is not split personality. This is a child living with its defense mechanisms. And with a narcissist, as an adult, they're still children in adult bodies. So you really, and that is true. They are literally children. They're trapped in their inner child in an adult body. So you have to always remember that when you're dealing with a narcissist, to remember that it's like a tantrum child, and you have to deal with them and treat them, and always remember that it's like having a tantrum child, a toddler running around, kicking and screaming. That's how you approach a narcissist. That's how you deal with a narcissist. So, excuse me, the child learns that the needs are not met. So as a child, when you got narcissist parents, or you got a parent that's absent, or whatever the approach, or they've generally been born with the traits, I believe that, and most psychologists and therapists will probably, it's 50-50, some will believe, some will not believe, that it can be helped and it can be changed, and I'm all for it, definitely, that it can be, the behavioural patterns can be changed. So the child, anyway, it learns to become self-sufficient in a certain respect, that the child learns that it doesn't need love, it doesn't need them emotional needs met, because they're not getting their needs met by the parents. And the child learns that, if I feed my parents' ego, or if I do something good, and I'm going to get praise for it. So it learns to become gravitate towards their full sense of self, and they live with their full sense of self. That's not the real person, that's their full sense of self. So that's generally how narcissism, quickly in a nutshell, is developed. It's a lot more complicated than that, but I'm trying to make this video quick. So I want to give you 2 ways to manipulate a narcissist. Manipulation is not right, it's not correct, and it's not a good thing to do. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, sometimes you just have to have these tools quite handy. So first we're going to talk about supply. Supply is a psychology terms, but supply means the narcissist needs admiration, attention, being admired, being put on that pedestal. The narcissist needs them things like people need oxygen and water, and without supply, they've been known to be really suicidal. They physically cannot cope in their physical body without their supply. So 2 ways to manipulate a narcissist is by taking away their supply. So first of all, you have to be a good source of supply. Now, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you are automatically going to be their main source of supply. So by giving that narcissist the love and admiration and attention what they want and need, you become their main source of supply, which is a good start. So you become their main source of supply. Now what you do is you take that supply away from them. Now, because you've automatically take that supply away from them, they need that supply. So what they'll probably do is they'll go in a mood for about 3 days. Like a child, they'll probably lock themselves in the room and kick and scream, you know, and all them little rages. And I call it a narcissist injured, an injured narcissist. So you've injured the narcissist because you've taken away the supply. So because you've taken away the supply, the narcissist will, like I said, will have a tantrum, but then they will come back almost begging for more. Now, because they're begging for more for the supply that you have once gave them, you can now put your boundaries down. You can stand your ground because they want that supply. So you have to, you know, it's give and take here. So you want your supply, mister. You have to give me something in return. I'm asking from you. I want respect. I want you to do this, or I need a mutual 50-50 in this relationship. Whatever it is you want from that narcissist, you put down your boundaries. So you've taken away the supply. You're willing to give back the supply, but on your terms. It's your boundaries. It's about you taking control now. So that is one way to manipulate or control, or no, it's not about control, it's about taking control. You really can't blame the narcissist here, because that's when you blame somebody else, you give them your power. So you can't blame, you have to accept. Now, if you're in a relationship with these people, it's because you've chosen to be. So, you know, blaming is not going to get you anywhere. And you have to remember, when you blame a narcissist, they can't deal with criticism. It's one thing you have to always remember, they can't deal with criticism. And really, it's just, you're just being a bully, because, you know, they really need a role model. It's really not about the narcissist, it's about you. Bearing in mind, they're a child, right, in an adult's body. So they need a role model, they need a figure, they need someone. As a child, lost in a big bad world, they've got no guidance. And that's what they are, they're children. So you need to own yourself, right? This is really about yourself, not the narcissist. It's about you owning who you are. It's about you not letting that narcissist control your feelings. It's about, hell no. Hell no. Come on, let's say it together. Hell no. You know, you're not letting that narcissist take that power. You cannot let them take your power. You cannot let them into your mind. You cannot let them have control of your emotions. This is really, as I've talked about in my previous videos, it's about you self-parting with yourself. It's about you owning yourself. That as soon as you own yourself, and that narcissist knows, because again, the children almost looking up to a teacher, or looking up to their mother, or looking up to somebody who's shows more status than what they do as a child. You know, it's about them looking up to you for guidance. So you have to be that person. You have to guide them. You have to tell them, look, this is wrong. But you don't dictate. You can't dictate. You can't point the finger. You can't blame. It's about you showing them how to live correctly. It's about you showing them, this is how you love. This is how you respect people. And always get them to listen as much as the talk. So if they try to talk too much, it's about you saying, listen, I want you to understand my feelings. I want you to understand me. Right? You have to teach this person. I'm going to wrap that up because we're on 8 minutes and 9 seconds. I hope that helps. I pretty much covered quite a lot in that amount of time. Thank you and goodbye.